So, like, guys, I was on this other show like a few days ago, and like we're just doing stupid jokes and stupid bits. So I'm thinking for like at the end of the episode, what I'll do is I'll just get like a MIDI version of "Living La Vida Loca" by who did that song? Was that Ricky Martin?
I'm just supposed to agree.
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. And I think we can just like obnoxiously sing that. I think that would be like a really good, real good way to close up the episode. What do you guys think?
No, dude.
I totally agree with you.
No,
I love the idea.
It's terrible. The door's like right there.
No.
Like I'm
What?
getting up.
No,
getting up.
Nathan.
If
Get it up.
Shrek did it,
Get it
we
up.
can do
All
it.
right.
Shrek. No, Nate. Okay.
Bye, Nathan.
Shrek did it.
Okay, we won't do it, Nathan.
It's a must.
No, okay, if Nathan's gonna be like this, I think we won't do it.
But Shrek did it.
I know that Shrek did it, and
Donkey sang. didn't
yeah,
he?
it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy can sing. Can any of us other than Pete really sing?
I can't sing.
I'm pretty
There's
sure.
like a Filipino in the room.
I just every time I talk into a mic, it sounds like I'm on NPR. So
Right, just gotta whisper
just
now.
just gotta whisper. Gently. ASMR.
All right, maybe we'll workshop that later. I guess we'll just do the show normal. All right, Renee, go and do the thing where you set it up. Hey everybody, welcome to the Creepo Depot. We're doing another Monster Hunter show. Not because like the last one did so well, but just because I just want to talk about Monster Hunter some more.
No, you're selling out, man. You're selling out.
Yeah,
Hey,
Capcom.
Capcom's paying the bills, okay? I
Yeah.
can get a new car.
Actually, yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
No. Yeah, so we're just talking about Monster Hunter today. Today we got some new people on the show that weren't here last time, but we brought them up several times in the last show.
I don't believe you.
Yes, didn't you listen to the show?
Yes, I did. I'm just
No,
kidding.
I tried to, then every time I actually tried to watch it, AT&T went, "You're eating your data, stop it." And I went, "Oh, okay."
All right, so why don't the new people who weren't on the last one go and introduce yourself and tell us about, just tell me what your favorite weapon is. Starting with this guy.
All right. So I'm Peter. Do you want my last name? Is that what you want?
No.
I'll just say Peter because I don't know. I don't know what you want
I
from
thought
me.
you wanted my last name.
I want your last name. That's really what this comes down to. That's why I'm here. Will you marry me?
No.
I didn't say who.
Oh.
Oh, Marcus.
Oh.
But I started off really liking longsword,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I started off with.
Yeah.
But then after a while, I kind of got like pushed into gunlance. Someone, I don't remember who made me.
I think it might have been Aftab.
I feel like it was
Yeah,
Aftab
yeah.
that made
Kept
me.
poking you.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, can you just be gunlance?" And I was like, "All right." And then ever since then, I just been stuck on gunlance.
Actually,
So
wait, why would you like want to switch to gunlance? Like, would there be like a?
I think I don't know. I was just like, I want to try something different, and
Oh, then he just like recommended.
he was
it.
like,
I think-
just try gunlance, and I was like,
Ye-
that's true. I haven't used it since Freedom Unite. What
Yeah,
do you say, Nate?
Yeah, and like Freedom United was OP as hell.
It really was. I was just, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was just really hard around that time, because it was really clunky at the time, and like I started off with the very first Monster Hunter on PS2,
Oh wow.
Oh,
and
wow.
so then once I got to Unite, it was like, oh, I really want all this stuff, but in order to do all this stuff, everything was extremely hard, and it was like multiplayer pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get to G rank. I don't even know how. But I think at the time I used hammer, longsword, greatsword. Those are like the three weapons I used.
Yeah.
And then like I used gunlance every so often, but I was like, I need output damage to be able to destroy monsters, and so I didn't really use it after that.
Yeah. And our other friend.
Hi, I'm Marcus. You can hear me in the mic. I started off in Monster Hunter Tri for the Wii. It was pretty fun, little nunchuck style, and I usually mained switch axe in it, just because I didn't like sword and board. Long sword was still really clunky. Like, I liked the concept of the long sword, I just didn't like the moveset for the long sword.
Mhm.
And then about halfway through, or no, a little more than halfway through the game, they throw an Urgan at you, and you usually need about blue sharpness to get through an Urgan, but
Yeah.
your best sharpness was still like green up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
And Tri had a very unique gun in that it had medium bow guns, which was the best of both worlds, and they promptly removed it.
It was
Oh,
too
yeah.
much fun.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I
because you could
remember
take the rapid fire shot from the light bow gun, and the output damaged and crouching fire from the heavy bow gun, and mix those.
Crouching fire when you're underwater? How does that work?
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
The recoil was actually just kind of stupid. So you'd shoot and it'd be
Yeah.
like,
It would like throw you all the way back. It was like the Men in Black gun.
Oh, yeah, the
cricket.
noisy cricket.
Yeah, you just fire back. It was, yeah.
But so like you couldn't get the sharpness to go through it. So I just made a medium bow gun that shot 9 water pellets per shot.
Mm.
And the Urgan just kind of went, I'm a wreck your shit, I'm a cheat. And then it was dead. And I was like, that was 5 minutes. It took me the full 60 minutes last time. 50 minutes last time to even like chip the tail. I'm gonna gun. And then the next Monster Hunter came out and they introduced Charge Blade, and I'm like, it's an axe and a shield. It's all I wanted from the Switch axe. And then I've just been doing that since.
Mm-hmm.
I'm garbage with that, but yeah.
Yeah. And you also have Nathan again.
Yep. Hello.
You guys remember Nathan? He does.
I've been here since forever.
He's
Move out,
I've
Grandpa.
never met you.
No one wants it.
He's- well, so Pete, since you started on the very, very first Monster Hunter, do you want to tell us a little more about that? Since last time everyone here was just, oh, we started with Freedom Unite, Freedom Unite.
Oh, well, I was like, pretty much when the game came out, that's when I got it. So I was a lot younger. And honestly.
Like, what drew you to it?
Um,
Because, like,
well, at the time, I've always liked like creature designs and stuff.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, that looks really cool. And I was playing Katamari
oh, yeah.
on PS2, and I was playing that with my cousin,
Mhm.
and I actually didn't have a PS2, but I decided, I was like, oh, well, I'm able to get this game, and I actually did not pay for it.
Oh.
I asked for it, and then someone just was like, oh, okay. I think it was my cousin or something. And he was like, yeah, it looks cool. And then he was like, oh, this game's crap. And I'm like, well, I asked for it, not you, so I'm going to be playing it. And yeah, that's how I ended up getting it. I mostly feel like it was my cousin purchasing it for himself because
Mhm.
he thought it
You
would be a
bet.
fun game to play
Yeah.
and pass off. Like, just keep passing back and forth. But no, it was not that type of game. And then
It's not Dark Souls.
yeah, and it's not that type of game. And I ended up keeping it and playing through it. And I was like, Jesus, this is hard. And I was like, it was just so frustrated trying to learn everything. And like, no one really heard about that game when I was playing it.
Yeah, nobody
Um,
knew about it until
yeah.
probably when it came to the Wii.
Weren't there only like 3 weapons too?
No, they had the like basics, but it was very clunky. It was interesting at the time. I don't honestly, just looking back at it, it might be like the nostalgia factor where it's just like it's kind of polished in my mind. But
Mhm.
if I actually look at it right now, I'm like, oh my god, what is that? But what is that? And what I really appreciated about the older versions were like they had stories. Like each monster had like a ecological story,
Mhm.
and when you would find them, you would have like the intro like
Hmm.
video, and you would have like a video for them, like oh, they're roaming, and like I just remember them having like just different stories for like each like monster.
That's really cool. I know that they did that a few times over the series, but I know that they significantly cut down to who gets them and whatnot.
Oh yeah, like who was it? Was it Young Cuckoo?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the one where it was always like a comical,
Mhm.
very comical,
Just kind of derp around and
just derp
showed
around
up
kind of
and-
things where he like
Gotcha.
walks around and he like hit his head and it's like, oh. And that was like the video is just
Yeah.
like, it's very small, but it's pretty interesting. And I think that's what got me to play it more and keep playing it, just because it was just like they had put all that time in like little videos along with it that
Mhm.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
I actually like the ecological videos that were in like the bonus menu.
yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like they were like when you would find the creature or like the monster,
Yeah.
you would get like the intro where they're like, "Oh, he's here," and then like run towards you, and they'd have that like clip. But they'd also give you that other clip, which that's the one where you're talking about the bonus menu, where you could go and then actually watch the clip. And in there, that's when it's like, it's not the clip that you saw, it's an extra clip.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool, like having that, just like, oh, he's eating, and it was just like, oh, you're actually researching the monster and stuff. It's not really like that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They cut that out like 4 ultimate.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really like that too, because you actually get to see these things as living, breathing like animals. You see them as in their day to day, and it's almost kind of like a mock Discovery Channel, Animal Planet kind of thing.
And we
Yeah.
see that the mother Rathalos flies to the nest. What the hell is that? A gold baby Rathalos? I'm gone.
Yeah, it was just like a lot of I guess like in World, they gave you some clips and stuff, and like the intros and the way they would interact, it's pretty much the way I believe they wanted to go in the beginning, but they couldn't really do that because of the PS2. So it ended up being that when World came out, they really implemented like how everyone interacts with each other, all the monsters interact with each other, like it's almost seamless, like it's a living, breathing world, and I think that's where they wanted to end up. But when they have Generations Ultimate and all that, like they totally like went back to the original way because it had more content. You're able to like load up more stuff onto it, and it's more accessible on the Switch, and you're able to take it around, more
Yeah.
portable. Yeah, I was super disappointed they didn't like really push anything on the Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
You
like,
mean on
oh,
a paperweight?
yeah, that paperweight that everyone used to have.
Yeah, rest in peace. Didn't they just like announce this year that they like finally are
Like,
cutting off
Yep.
all support for it,
Yep.
which sucks.
It sucks, but I mean, it's a paperweight.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I love it, but it holds my fingers.
Yeah, it's a paperweight. It sucked. Like I really had high hopes for it because the PSP was such an iconic handheld console, and it really went up with like Nintendo. But
Yeah, they just.
that's
they-
pretty much where I ended up playing a lot of my Monster Hunter was on the PSP, and even when I got the Vita, I ended up purchasing Unite, and I was actually starting it up with AFTAB, I believe.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. How
Yeah.
you and Aftab just like bonded over that.
That's where we ended up like meeting and stuff. So
No, if I remember correctly, the PS2 one, just because like the monsters were so big and like the environments were pretty huge. The game was pretty foggy, right? That was like the thing
yeah, it was pretty foggy.
to go and try to hide the fact that it was like.
Yeah. Like they'd add fog effects, but it was like a render view, pretty much. It was like, hey, it's fog. It's like you can't see over there because it's fog, but it was mostly the view distance or whatever.
That's like the only thing I know about it. It's like the first one's like a lot slower than like the other ones, and then
Super
also just
clunky and just
fog.
fog. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it was. But I had fun with it. I got a lot of hours in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's how I completely forgot that that's how you started with it. Like everyone else was just me or Marcus, where we started on Try. Was it Try just on the Wii? Yeah,
It was just on
yeah.
the Wii.
Yeah.
Try on the.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Because it was actually, I think, a Japanese port? Or
yeah. It was it was the port of their like expanded version.
Yeah, it was like the ultimate version of one of theirs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how we had Generations, and then it's like, oh, we have Generations Ultimate for the Switch. So
Yeah, you
Okay.
guys all know my story about 3 and how I died to a Gigi the first time I was
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I like Giganox's designs. I just hate fighting them.
No, it wasn't Giga. Not. I mean the.
Oh.
and
You mean
Giggy,
the actual
the small,
Giggy?
Yeah,
the
You
small,
poor bastard.
the small little
because
guy.
because I was
You
just
didn't
mashing.
realize.
Because I didn't realize that if you roll 3 times, they get off of you. I was just like, why won't this thing get off me?
It just keeps leeching off you.
Yeah, it just stays on there the entire time.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Didn't they change that in like future games? Like,
No, they turned it to one roll,
no,
but
no. Like with the little mini Zamtrios, like they'll just like stay on you just for a little bit, and then they'll just like jump off of you.
Wig
They-
off.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
they'll stay on until they've reached enough blood to mature into
Mhm.
the big Zamites. But I mean, they'll just stay on you until you roll.
Yeah, but they still like pop off of you after a while. It's
Mhm.
not like the jiggies where they will just stay on you for until you die.
I think the Jiggies still would though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just remember dying.
We'll have to try it out.
They're dicks.
So someone do that. So last time we kind of like neglected to talk about skills and armors and all that fun stuff because when you're playing these games, you mostly just kind of have you kind of just put a goal in your brain. You're just like, I want to kill this, so I can make this, or I can go and get this skill, or I can go and complete this. So let's just go around and just like talk about like what are some of our favorite armor sets, or maybe like some skills that we really love. We'll just start with Nathan since he hasn't talked that much.
I'd say, yeah, like,
Outside of like Zenogre armor and stuff.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In the 4th game, they had the Star Knight armor, and yeah, like as soon as that came out, I'm like, I want this because it has like all the skills that I need. I forgot what they were. Hang on, let me just pull them up. All right,
But yeah, we had to. That was an event quest, right?
yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah. It
event
was.
quests, yeah.
Wasn't that for
Yeah.
like Universal Studios or something?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
Universal Japan.
Mhm.
And they still have those quests. It's actually in World right now.
Oh really?
You just have to search it, and you can still get it. It's a lot of the really cool armors are still available, but they're through events.
Mhm.
Yeah, like the cool ones that I was like, oh, one that I've always liked is it's like a bug outfit,
Mhm.
the Hornator, or
The Hermitor is.
Hornitar?
yeah, it has. It's almost like the Hercules beetle.
Oh yeah. yeah.
Oh,
dude,
okay.
yeah,
and
yeah,
he just
yeah.
looks like a beetle.
Yeah.
I was like, that's always been my favorite
Mhm.
stats. I'm like, I don't care about them, but like
Yeah, I
that
remember.
outfit's always been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Solid design. I really liked that one.
Yeah, that one's pretty solid. The other one is what else? When you're ready, Nate.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I just pulled it up. So
okay.
yeah, it had a Challenger +2 on it,
Mhm.
Rodeo God, Steady Hand, and
Rodeo guy.
yeah, and the sharpness or close to a sharpness +1.
So
Which-
for those who haven't played those games, what would those skills do?
Okay, so what Rodeo God did was you could like stay up longer on the monster when you mounted it, and it was harder to buck you off.
You filled the gauge faster
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steady Hand. So in Monster Hunter, there's a mechanic where if you don't have a high enough sharpness, you'll bounce off it. But with Steady Hand, it just negates that. You won't do.
No,
Wait,
that's fencing.
I think that's. They might have changed the name though.
No, yeah,
It
Steady Hand
depends.
was like a
What?
combination of the
Yeah.
like two things.
Oh, right. It was.
Yeah, because they've changed a couple names for things, or they've added it or combined.
I was gonna
So,
say, I was like, how is that different from fencing?
yeah, there's a couple different variations. So I think it is part of it, but
And then Challenger, Nathan.
I have to look up Challenger. Like,
Challenger,
Yeah.
whenever you're in the same room as an enraged monster, you
get
get a large attack buff as well as a slight critical buff. So,
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
so it's just, you want to be enraged? Fine.
I'm gonna be
I just-
enraged too.
yeah,
So,
pretty
yeah,
much.
it
You both
was-
get enraged.
yeah, it was very, very much a offensive-based armor build, which fit my style very well.
Mhm.
And yeah, it had enough slots where you could get that sharpness +1 to it. And
I remember that was like
Yeah.
the big reason Hoffy wanted it super bad.
oh yeah, yeah, that
Mhm.
that was mostly that was like the main reason.
Now we
And
get sharpness +2.
Yeah.
yeah, and like yeah, it was. I added in speed sharpening to it, and I remember, yeah, like I think we talked about this in the previous episode, but yeah, like Hoffy got like really, really mad at me. It's like,
Oh yeah, I remember this.
yeah, it was just like,
conversation.
yeah, it was just like, why would you want speed sharpening?
Yeah.
Because I'm a Switch X. Yeah, yeah, I'm a Switch X user. Like, we have low sharpness, and even if I do have steady hands, you still need to keep that like attack up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because you get the attack multiplier for the higher sharpness values.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I'm trying to think of something else. So I really started off like being very offensive, like offense, and I think once I met like Aftab and like all you guys that started playing Monster Hunter and everything, I went from being on the offense to just being defense most of the time. Like I don't It's just more about staying alive.
Party dynamics really changes everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mostly just wanted to stay alive. So I pretty much had everything for a gun lance to stay alive, to block anything. And that's how I usually roll, like, now, even in World, like, for gun lance is like, oh, block anything, reduce the amount of,
Knockback for guarding.
yeah,
Decreasing.
so stamina won't decrease pretty much anymore, it's just like a small amount. And then I can guard anything, like beams and everything. Like, you just stand there, guard, while everyone runs, and then you're like, all right, here I am.
Yeah.
Like,
This
you
is
can
what-
stand behind me. Maybe I
Yeah.
can guard it for you.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I remember that during our Freedom Unite days. The standard thing was get behind Pete.
Yeah,
It was.
because if we got fireballed, I would take the impact and it wouldn't process all the way back. So then, even now, there's still some attacks that, depending what your set is, you can just stand, and if it's like a fireball, you'll take the fireball. It won't keep traveling. It'll pretty much diffuse it right then and there,
Then they added laser beams.
Oh yeah.
and then those go through.
And that's when you have to like tell your teammates you gotta dive.
You're like, stand behind me. Let's
Guys.
wipe.
I'm getting sick of this monster. I got places to be.
I got places to be. Stand behind me. I'll guard this.
Look, guys, I already got my plate. I don't even need to be here.
It's like, oh, meteors are coming from this Final Fantasy monster. Stand behind me. I'll guard it.
You're just holding it above your head.
I'll hold it. And then it's like everyone just done. It's like, bye. Nice hunting. That's what I found weird about the Switch. No audio really. So I was like, how do I leave? Like, I feel rude, and I was like, thanks for hunting, bye. And then I just like,
Pete has left the game.
yeah, I just bye. I'm leaving. Recently, yeah.
Yeah.
More so for skills is what I go for. I tend to get very lucky with my talismans, which are just like extra skills you get to put on. So you'd go out mining, you'd hit the mining point, and you get a worn talisman. You take that back after you complete it, and they go, you got rodeo champ +3 and sharpness +6. Good luck, buddy.
Hunger +5.
Hunger plus 5.
Everyone.
Attack -9. Crap. And what you do is you take that, you equip it with your other armor set, and if you either had complementing skills, like let's say you had 5 points in hunger, add another 5 points on the charm, you'd get 10 points of hunger, and your stamina would decrease less.
Yeah.
Actually, back in 4 Ultimate, I got very lucky with one of my charms that gave
Oh
me
yeah, I remember
Knockout
that.
King.
That's crap.
Be mad, Pete. It
Yeah.
gave me Knockout King.
He's still mad all these years later.
And like 2 points in Mushroomancy, which allowed me to eat any random mushroom, and it would give me a bonus effect.
Yeah, it was
for
so
whatever.
dumb. It's like the best charm ever. Is really
Yeah,
annoying when I get like a trash one.
Right, Pete would get the attack +2, defense -5. And he's like, "What am I
Yeah,
gonna
stuff
do
like
with
that.
this?"
Or like Constitution -5. I'm like, that's what I want. Not negative though.
So I normally run impact file charge blades, which is pretty much just cutting hammers. Like, you want to knock something out, but you still want to cut the tail, go charge blade. And what Knockout King did was it increased the amount of damage that my knockout files do. So, I'd just be laying the files on the monster, and then it'd be knocked out, and Anthony would be going, oh, Oompa Boompa hammer. Me charge blade.
That's my job.
I think, yeah, if I remember right, like once you got that charm, it basically became Marcus could do everything.
Yeah, I was essentially just Tonfus.
Yeah.
Tonfus.
If you guys don't know, and it's like Monster Hunter Online, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Japanese only. Or
Yep.
No, I thought it was Chinese.
It's
Oh yeah, it's in. Yeah, it's
Asia.
Yeah, Asia.
Greater Asia area.
Asia.
one of them. They have like this Monster Hunter game online that's like not officially connected to the one that we all play, and like they introduced Tonfas that literally just turn the game into DMC. You could just do anything with it.
They jump, they impact damage, they cut, they
Yeah,
jump while impact damage.
I think yeah, you could also guard with them. They were crazy.
It was ridiculous.
Not
Like,
only that, but you're like literally like air dodging and like.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
a different game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've seen
ever-
gameplay
ever
and I'm
been
like,
Tonfas.
To be fair though, the monsters in that game look like complete bullshit. Like I saw this one.
Yeah.
I saw this one. What's his? Who's that stupid? You know the.
Kieran?
No,
Kazoo?
Kazu, yeah.
I was
saw-
like, Kieran jumping around?
No,
He was doing the arm motion.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
doing an arm motion of his head going like. Whap,
That
whap.
could also be Marcus, but you know.
You know, that
Hey,
could be
hey,
Marcus.
Saturday nights
But
are,
yeah,
are my night, okay?
So I saw this Kazu fight, and legit, like they were kind of like in the swampy marsh, and you know how Kazu has that one attack that like fans out little three.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so basically he went and shot that out.
It's like
and
the swampy area where Gypceros usually is.
yeah. But like literally they have like these little puddles, and because there's so many little puddles around,
Mm-hmm.
when it does a little fan out attack, the little fan out hit every single little puddle and just electrify them.
Oh, that's
Turning the entire battlefield into this like
Oh, yeah, I've seen some really trash footage of that. And it's like, or like Rajang, just. It's like double of
Honestly,
them, and
yeah.
you're just like, you come here to fight me? And then another one appears, and it's like, all right, bro, I got you.
yeah.
Taquan!
Honestly, yeah, the
Yeah, man.
online was just crazy with
It-
their exclusive monsters.
Yeah,
like,
it just looked terrifying. Like,
Yeah,
I would
they-
not want to play it.
yeah, because they had like the giant monsters that everybody knows. It's
Yeah.
like your Lao Xiaolong and stuff. Then they,
Thou shalt round.
yeah, and they super escalated. They have a raid boss which is the size of an island, and it's basically a 30-man hunt, and it's just ridiculous.
No, we're just teaching him how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need Kazoo.
There you go.
But yeah, it was crazy. Like the giant island monster fight was divided up into a hunting part.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like it was a hunting part, and then afterwards it was a gathering part. That was
Glad
just
I never looked it up.
yeah, it was just
I was
ridiculous.
super close on making an account and playing it. Oh, man, I was right there, and I was like, I don't want to kiss my wife away.
Because yeah, it
I
was
heard Asia only, and I went bye.
I was like, okay, VPN, okay. And then I was like, already there, and I'm like, all right, let's start this. And I'm like, and I'm gonna play StarCraft instead.
Didn't they also have like a Kazu that like
Oh,
exploded or something?
Kazus were crazy in that game. Like everything was just amplified, and I would not want to really play it. Like it just didn't seem as fun if it was just like, say I'm the only one playing it, and I'm the only one that speaks English, and everyone's like, "What are you doing, scrub?" And I'm like, "I'm from America," and they're like, "How you play? Why you play this game?" And like, yeah, I didn't want to deal with that.
Go back to StarCraft, and you're like, yeah.
I'm playing this on my violin.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm just gonna go home, guys. I don't know what you're saying to me.
I can only tell that you're angry.
Yeah.
I don't know what these symbols mean, but yeah. So pretty much Marcus was the Tomfas of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it
you,
was.
you know, on my favorite armor set for the critical Brachidios, which was just like
I fucking love
Brachidios on
Brachidios. I love
steroids.
Brachidios.
It's such a fun fight, though.
Oh, I love Brachidios. Like I'm saying, like
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
such
he's
good
a
guy.
real fun monster.
He's the Rocky of the monster world, and he's got this sweet pompadour, and it's just like you break the pompadour and you feel bad because like
No, I don't.
I don't feel bad.
I feel great.
yeah,
I
less
feel-
damage.
I
Yeah.
feel bad. It's a beautiful pompadour.
No, he's a really fun fight, and all his like armor, his weapons, everything was just really cool about him.
Yeah, I like that the hammer was just like it
His
was.
tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just his tail.
It's his tail.
you
Yeah.
just shove his tail on a stick and you just call it down.
To be fair, that's most hammers, though. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Plesioth, head on a stick.
Head on a stick.
And-
Tail on a stick.
Palico, head on a
Stick.
stick. Yeah.
I need to make a weapon. Hold on, get me a stick and some duct tape. We're making this bra. Isn't my the freaking the hammer I'm using the most right now in Generations is like that too. It's literally
It's
just
a stump on a stick.
Stomp on a stick. Marshmallows on a stick.
A meat, nondescript meat.
on
a stick. It's like
That's
over
the one thing I
here.
love about the hammers. It's just the ridiculous design. Sometimes you get like the very serious hammer design. This is a chunk of metal that I didn't forge right, but I put it on a stick.
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
get like, this is a bell and it doesn't ring, but it's on a stick.
It's on a stick, so it's gonna deal damage.
It's a giant teddy bear.
Yeah. There's not even a stick on that. You hold it by the leg.
Yeah, you
Hold
just-
it by the leg.
And you just beat the crap out of it, and then it falls asleep, and you're like, okay, everyone just get all your explosives.
Just bomb. Wait, who's
It's-
gonna kick the bomb? Barioth rules, son. Kick the bomb. You said it. You detonated. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
But,
there's.
another thing I like about the hammers though is that like when you charge them, some of them have special effects like unlocking or
Yeah.
opening or
Yeah.
enlarging. It's just very nice.
Yeah, it's always my favorite thing about hammers.
Well, they really love hammers. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
who loves hammers in Capcom?
Go boom.
Yeah, it-
Hammer.
it's me. I secretly work at Capcom.
Capcom pays the bills.
Yeah, pretty much. But
But yeah, any other skills you guys want to talk about that you guys love before I move on to mine? Skills or armors or
armors. I found just all around. I like the design of Duramboros, which is just this giant
oh yeah,
mountain
that's yeah.
that
It's a
just
hammer.
pirouettes and just drops on your face and you die.
yeah,
You know, but you just got a very nice balance of horns,
his armor was
mossy
nice
lookingness, or just straight like industrial a little bit. Like on one of his shoulders is just like, yeah, I've got rivets here, but on my other shoulder I got a big old horn. What about
Yeah.
it?
Well, then you got the G rank, and then he gets both.
He
horns.
gets both
He gets
horns
both
in G
horns.
rank,
It's just-
Yeah.
and then
nice.
also the different shades
Mhm.
of armor.
Just his gradient. It's just a very nice. It's
Yeah.
very calming to look at the Duramboros and Duramboros armor set.
Yeah.
Like he's literally a mountain, so like when he just moves around, it's honestly like a forest.
It's majestic.
Yeah,
You know.
that's my face. He's our favorite monster, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
He's very nice.
I still have salty memories though.
Yeah, he like flips. Oh, look, what's that? Dead.
Bop.
Dead.
I also really like, and the fortify ability is actually a lot of fun
I
too.
love- Fortify is so
Fortify is
useful
pretty
in
good.
World though because it's only a 1-point skill.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So as opposed to it being regularly 10
Mhm.
in World, it's 1 point, and
Mhm.
World's gems just kind of suck. So
Oh yeah.
just 1 point of Fortify. All right, that's on all my armor sets. I got 20 of these anyways.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. For those of you who don't know, what fortify does basically, whenever you fall in battle, you can only fall like
Twice.
Yeah, you can only fall twice. And every time you fall, fortify ups your defense and ups your attack just a little bit at first, and then the second time you just get like a huge boost to it.
Yeah. Pretty much telling you, don't die again, please.
Yeah.
Please don't die. And if you have feline insurance, you actually
yeah.
get the third time because it does a max 3 times.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But if you
third
faint
time
3
is-
times, it's quest over, and you just kind
Yeah.
of go sad face.
But yeah, but with the insurance, it just you're pretty much a Super Saiyan at that point in the game. Just
Yeah.
like you gonna kill it now.
And then
You
someone else
die.
dies instead of you. And
You're
you're like,
just like,
"Ah."
good dang it.
max buffed, Nathan.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, if anyone has to die, it has to be me.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember like, yeah, when you finally got Fortify, you were always running up in front of the monster.
Yeah.
It was just like, let me die, let me die.
Life powder. No, I want to die.
yeah.
Let me die.
I got this. Let me
Life
die.
powder.
Life powder.
No, don't powder.
Ancient.
Hey guys, I'm going Gunner today. All the healing shots directed at
Oh,
Anthony.
no.
No.
All
Which
right.
is really funny because usually I'm like the one who's like running away in the corner chugging like mega potions.
Yeah, he just kind of
Yeah.
hides. Like, I love you, but you just hide and you gotta stop that. Help me do damage.
Oh.
No, I help you. I help you.
All right. So, what's your favorite one? Your favorite armor or skill?
Well, obviously it's Duramboros we talked about.
Wait, oh,
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I really loved Brute Tigrex a whole lot.
I hate it.
Oh.
But that was mostly because it came with hearing. It came with the hearing, which when a monster roars, usually it stuns you for just a quick second. But
Uh-huh.
with high grade earplugs, it's just like, oh,
What?
I don't give a care, and I could just go and use this time to wail on your
You're
face.
just like, what? Why'd you say I can't hear you? What?
Go
which is-
on.
which
You know
is-
that thing you did. You need to do it again.
Yeah.
What?
But yeah, you just go up to them and just wail on their face, and just like it's so satisfying just to run up to them and just mash their face in, and right in the middle of their roar, they just get knocked out, and you're just like, "Hey guys, come on in!"
Honestly, I think.
Can't. It's too loud.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you can even block all that.
Yeah, you got a shield. You can block.
If you can
doors.
shot, like, if you can shield, like,
Well, I'm sorry, I kind of don't have
No,
one of those because
I
I'm
know.
a hammer.
hide behind it. No, like with a gun lance, you can just like guard everything. So I never found like really the purpose of high grade earplugs. But there are some times, depending how you're facing, you'll get screwed over. But what's something that like always burned into your mind? That's just like the most horrendous outfit. Because forever, for me, it's always the Karen one. For a guy at least. Male Karen, I'm always
I
like,
was gonna say Plesioth. That just looks gross on everybody.
I love Plesioth, though. It feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
But you have that.
you're not.
You have that stupid, really bad James hair, but it's like not even like cool. It's not even blue. It's silver and gross. And
I'm trying to think what like. I know the Karen one's like pretty horrendous, but
well, just for guys.
for guys, well,
Because it's just unicorn head on your head and then like a loincloth.
and chaps.
I really don't like
chaps.
the Kazu
Assless
ones
chaps.
either.
Oh, I know which one's really disappointing for me.
Hmm.
Chameleos. When Chameleos was in the game, his armor made you look like a really flamboyant wizard, and I was like, no, he's not supposed to look like that. I was like, it's
so
not. I was so annoyed by that outfit because I really like that character. I'm like, oh, dude, I was hoping they would give me like
that's the
a
worst
really.
when you like fight a monster and you're just like, oh man, I hope their armor looks cool. And you're like, oh,
And then you go and you're like, what is that?
this is gross and offensive.
Yeah.
And then you just stick with your Roggy armor so that way you,
You know
look
what?
like a cowboy.
I'm gonna have to look it up because it just that haunts my memory.
And then
actually.
and then you look at the pumpkin armor and you're like, oh, that looks so cool. But I'm never gonna get this. Wasn't there like a lobster armor too?
Yeah, there was an
Oh
lobster.
yeah.
I
Lobster.
never.
But
Lobster armor. I got a heat res talisman, which made me completely immune to hotness and lava. So I'd just be in the
Jeez.
volcano, in my lobster armor, standing on lava, going, "Hey guys, hi."
I remember that was such a pain because you had to like get lucky with the RNG with the fishing
no.
stuff,
Yeah.
and it was just like I never got it. And I also really wanted the lobster hammer too, just because.
Lobster on a stick.
Yeah, just beat people up with my shrimp on a stick. It was the greatest. It's on a stick.
It's on a stick. Armor sets I don't like. I usually just kind of ignore them because I don't like them.
Yeah.
So I don't remember them.
I actually, being a little more positive, the Ludroth armor was like the most like when I was playing, when I was playing 3 Ultimate and really getting into it because Pete made me get into it.
Yeah, I did.
When originally I just did not care about skills and I didn't really give a crap because I was like, this number stuff is for nerds. I don't need to pay attention. And I never really understood like the abilities and stuff, and I was like, I really don't give a care until I reached high rank and I wore the high rank Ludroth armor, which gave you marathon, and and as a hammer user, it's like marathon is so good just because you spend a lot of time charging, so that way like just like oh jeez, that looks gross. Pete's showing us the Chameleos armor right now, and you're not wrong.
I liked the Chameleos armor though. I'd run around with my
Ow.
poofy pants and just
No.
feel.
it's terrible. Like he has a horn and all that. Like I'd expect his armor to look really cool, but it's
or
not.
like ninja-like or something.
To be perfectly honest though, I wanted the pants to be poofier.
No.
Did you just want to be MC Hammer? You know what? I think in that case that would be fun. Oh, that'd be so great. You're just like next to the monster, you're like,
Stop! Hammer time! Get him, Anthony!
Yeah, that armor is like haunting me right now. It's really bad.
But yeah, the Ludroth armor, it was like super good just because of that marathon. Also, just like it also kind of had like a pretty neat design. You were like wearing just like this parka and just
Yeah.
like
Oh, dude,
running
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was
a
like
nice
it was
one.
like a little raincoat, and like you had a little lion's hood because the Royal Ludroth is just honestly a water lion. You know, he's got the pride and everything, and I don't mean like the pride is in the hubris. I mean the pride is in the pack of lion little Ludroth things. So you know his whole motif is just a lion that can swim and has a very spongy mane. What you do with the armor set is you just take that mane and you put it on your head.
And I remember that, and I just remember that was the thing I killed Seadus with, and I was just like, I was just like so happy when I killed him by myself, and I was like, I did it, I feel accomplished.
Okay, so I found one of the armors. I couldn't remember which one it was, but I remember now.
All the way, I never got that
Yeah, I got this armor. This is like one of my favorite armors.
Honestly, yeah, it's a very nice.
It's
nice.
super nice.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
Honestly,
Can
yeah.
you tell the audience what it is? Because I don't think I'm
Describe
gonna.
it. Describe it.
Okay, so it's pretty much gonna be a white, silver, and red armor.
Well, what
you're-
monster is it?
Fatalis. I don't know how you're gonna pronounce
Fatalis.
Big
it.
old
Fatalis.
European dragon that just goes.
Yeah, so it's
Yep.
I don't like fighting that guy.
yeah,
I can
so
never
that
get enough
guy,
people to fight that guy.
and you actually have wings on this armor. It's a really nice set.
You get wings on the Rathalos armor.
Hey, but this one's so much better. Sorry, this one's so much better. It's so much cooler. But I think the set was actually pretty good as well. But it's a really nice set. It has like some horns. I don't really know. It looks like you have like
Yeah, you got two side horns, which are just they go with hand in hand with the Fatalis's general head design.
Mhm.
It's just two side horns that look like big old sideburns, and then one horn on the front. And then your arm guards actually look like the Fatalis claws.
yeah, and your
So, you know,
legs do too.
Your legs do too. So you just
Yeah.
full on dragon with
You're-
everything.
Yeah, you're pretty much a dragon.
You're just a dragon person.
You just-
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually go all out with the late game armor designs and
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So
Especially for the Elder Dragons. I really like
Yep.
the Elatrian armor set, but Elatrian.
Yeah.
Yeah, his armor was really nice. But
Really nice. You got
Jesus.
bigger wings, and they were like positioned up higher, so it looked like you were ready to just fly off any second. But like
Then you had to
fighting
fight
him.
him.
It's
Yeah.
just, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it later.
I'm wondering if he's coming to World, but
Oh man, that'd be so nice.
it'd be really nice.
Isn't he in Generations Ultimate too?
Honestly, it just started. I don't know.
Well, we can talk about that a little.
I know
later.
Lao Shang Long is.
Yeah.
Around, shout,
I remember that joke.
Yep.
So, another thing we didn't really talk about last time is Monster Hunter Stories, which is the spin-off game they released a couple.
Like a year or two ago?
Yeah.
It's
thought
a
it
year
was-
actually. It's 2017 because
Oh,
I was
I-
gonna purchase it on my phone to talk about it on the podcast.
Oh.
I never did because my phone started overheating, and I was like, all right, let's not do that. That's why I was requesting if I can borrow it.
And then and then we never did.
Yeah.
Mine's download, so I can't borrow it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do a third show, and then we'll kick off Marcus, and we'll just have you talk about your experience with the game.
Well, Marcus has already played it. He can, play
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
He can talk about
Yep.
it already.
Yeah, yeah.
I like
But yeah. I played it a bit. I have a story about that I'll get into later. But Marcus, why don't you just go and give us like the kind of gist of what the game is? Wait, Nathan, did you ever play?
I actually never played it. Like thinking about it, like our group, it was like half of us played, Frontier. The other half like actually didn't due to various reasons.
Frontier. I'm trying
Or
to-
wait, no, oh crap, no,
I
I'm
was
thinking.
like,
Talking about
front-
Monster
Yeah,
Hunter
stories. Okay,
I was
stories.
like,
No, I was thinking.
Frontier.
Yeah, I was actually no, like throughout the podcast, I was looking at some Monster Hunter Frontiers monsters
Yeah, I
aside.
was like,
I'm like,
who's playing Frontier? Let's-
Yeah.
I haven't played Frontier.
but no, yeah, stories. So yeah, like half of us either like didn't play it, and the other half did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so as the only one who's played World, let me get my nerd glasses.
World.
I mean,
Oh well,
no
we
one,
don't know what
no
we're
one
talking
knows
about
what this
anymore.
game is.
Yep.
too late
We're all
now.
saying different games. I'm like,
So
I played
That's
World.
that's how much people like stories. We don't even remember
I
its
love
name.
Stories. Shut up. So the general gist of stories is that you're the main protagonist in a very remote village
with a bunch of stories.
who has decided to do the exact opposite of the rest of the world, and that is befriend the monsters. And I don't mean just like the Apseroses and the herbivores.
Oh, it's like How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, it's essentially How to Train Your Dragon, and
But
just
with
with
How to
Monster
Train Your Monster.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you go around, you loot you track a monster, you steal its egg, you take
You
it back
steal
home.
its-
No, you
Wow.
straight up steal its egg.
Yeah, you, like,
yeah, I
straight
saw
up
that. I was playing the
steal its
demo,
babies.
and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna steal this egg. It's mine now." And I was
It's
like,
mine
"And
now.
I'm gonna hatch it and take
Waddle,
care of it."
waddle, waddle, waddle,
This
waddle.
is mine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
You don't deserve this. You won't. You're not gonna even take
you
care
weren't
of
even
it.
you weren't even gonna raise it. You were just
And
gonna
then
kick
you
it out
just
of the nest.
raise a kazoo.
You just raise a kazoo. Yeah, you do seriously. So the story starts off
Flesh
just
tone
you,
kazoo.
your friends are all about that age to just start training your own monsters.
Mhm.
And so you've got to do this rite of kinship, which is you pick an egg, and if
Yeah.
the special stone that gives you all your magical powers says you're worthy, then you can do it, right? So, but before that, you and your two best friends decided, let's just go out in the forest, have some fun, do, and then you end up in like the forbidden part of the forest.
The
And they're just like,
forest.
the forbidden forest.
Forbidden forest.
And you find an egg, and it looks like weird. And it's next to an altar, and you're just like, oh well, that's this weird egg, but it probably won't hatch. Hey, your female best friend is just like, hey guys, why don't we do a practice kinship ritual right here?
Oh yeah,
And you're
I
like-
remember seeing that video.
And you're like, okay. So you get a couple of rocks, you stand around the egg, you do the ritual, nothing happens. Fun times. Big monster comes in, and you're like, Mama, no! You run. Everybody from the village comes back, saves you, and just like, you guys can't do that.
You're stupid.
Pretty much everyone.
But
in
yeah, the
village.
game is a lot different from a normal Monster Hunter.
It's gotta catch them all.
Yeah,
Gotta steal them
essentially.
all.
Yeah,
Gotta steal 'em
mixed
all.
with
Gotta
like
steal them all.
Gotta
yeah,
steal-
mixed with rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
Instead of you like fighting the monsters, you fight alongside the. You fight alongside the monsters, and you kind of control them, kind of like a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And unlike regular Monster Hunter where it's hit it until it dies, you get a health gauge. You can see how much health it's got as
Yeah,
long as you fought
I
it
did see
before.
that.
And then it's rock, paper, scissors until it dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can actually ride your monster.
Oh, yeah.
And if you successfully win the rock, paper, scissors enough times, your special increases in power,
Yeah.
and you get a super cool special.
Yeah.
Is there subspecies in this
Yes,
game?
there
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are certain subspecies.
Is there
Uh,
a fleshstone kazoo?
No.
Let's move on.
All right. Next on the docket.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess I won't be playing that game.
you get Red Kazoo though.
You get Red Kazoo. and
Red Kazoo actually was
It's
like
a red
my
rocket.
Red Kazoo was actually like my bro for like the longest time. I was like,
I'm sure he was.
he was. I was just riding this big old,
riding this big old kazoo.
this big old red Kazoo.
Was there like a dark kazoo?
Well, the thing is, Pete.
Yeah, he was like significantly larger than your standard white Kazoo.
Well,
Yeah.
you see, Pete, in this game, because you're like special bonding with these monsters, you can teach them special moves. So if I wanted to, I can go and teach my Red Kazoo to go and shoot out like some white ice goop or something.
I
just-
did. I did.
just like hop on and just be like, "Yo, bro, cough that shit out." his neck gets
Wow.
all long and then
He's
coughs
like,
out.
he like spits out goop and it's a potion, and you're like, oh yeah, I need you to spit it on me,
All over my face.
all over me. I need a heal.
Yeah, you just spit that healing goop.
Yeah.
God, Kazu, like I wonder what they were thinking when they were doing the design.
They were probably playing Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's called hentai, and it's art.
it's called Kezu, and he's my friend.
It's called hentai. Look it up. Oh.
But
But
yeah, you liked the game a whole lot, right?
Yeah, I liked the game a whole lot. One thing was that you don't get all of the weapons you would as you do in a normal Monster Hunter game. So you only get like sword and shield, hammer, hunting horn.
No
And-
gun lance, right?
No gun lance. I
Alright,
think you
that's
get.
why I didn't play it.
I think you get dual blades as well. I don't know. I just hunting horned the entire time because all of the weapons get combos. So you use 3 power attacks, which is your rock and your rock paper scissors. You do a super strong hammer hit. But for hunting horn, it's like, well, I get to just buff me and my monster. Just attack buff, speed buff. I do this complicated song, and then Anthony falls on the floor going. Brr, brr, brr.
Yeah. we'll talk about the multiplayer a little later.
But no, the story was fun. It was just kind of like, go out, have an adventure. Oh no, it's hit the fan because your childhood friend whose family was killed by a monster just 10 minutes ago is gone on a bitch fit. And you gotta stop him. I
Yeah,
can't
he's-
stop him. He's already flown off on the damn Rathian.
Yeah, he's just all the main characters are pretty much like your stereotypical like cookie cutter things. I mean, it was like a game made for kids, even though that.
Made for kids, very shonen, very just.
I don't think it was that easy though.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like made for kids, not that easy.
yeah, that's how Japan do it. It's like, hey, we're gonna
That's
go
true.
and make,
You wonder why we lose all the time?
Dude, yep, it's just like the Metabots game.
or like your yokai watch. Like,
Metabots.
Yep.
Mm.
we're not gonna have a Metabot show.
Yeah, we're not gonna have that.
Eventually, someday.
I lost to
my
myself.
birthday.
I am rank 5 and 6.
But yeah, it's typical Japanese game for children. It's like, oh hey, there's like it's pretty shallow character wise, but like mechanics wise, it's super fucking deep, and you're like, what the fuck? This is supposed to be for children.
Yeah.
Like it is for children, man
like-
babies.
They got special skill slots that you can put things into, like technical boost, or like straight up new
In the
skill.
monster?
In the monster, yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
put that
Because-
in a monster?
Because your kinship stone, which is a special MacGuffin, just allows you to do that. So you take a monster, you take your base monster, and you take another monster who's got the skill. And it's just pretty much this tic-tac-toe board, and as long as the selected monster's skill is in the appropriate spot, you can take that skill, say goodbye to that monster, and put that in your monster. So like, let's say I wanted a Brute Tigrex that knew Thunder Breath, I could get a Brute Tigrex that knows Thunder Breath.
Yeah, the game actually goes and gives you like a pretty they like go and show you this like you have to go and catch a Lagambi and teach it like fire breath in order to go and progress in the game. And it's like it's like a neat little thing.
So
I
you put a stone inside him?
No, you have the stone on your hand, and that's what lets you do it.
yeah.
Yeah, Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, so it's not like
And-
Gwyneth Paltrow's gem that you put up your woo-ha
No,
and all the healing sensation.
apparently that's actually very bad for you.
Not according to her. I stand
Yeah.
by it. I'm not saying that I use one, but
Pete, you can be honest. This is a safe zone.
I don't
That's-
use it the right way. Let's just say that.
Well,
So-
it's a safe zone as long as people don't listen to this episode.
Nobody ever listens to the show anyway, except for like Blue W. Anyways, but for me, I didn't really get too far into the game because something happened
Oh yeah, you were telling me.
Oh yeah, I
that
remember
really ticked me off. So I've played a few of these kind of like it's kind of
RNG.
Pokemon-esque games where you go and catch monsters and stuff. And one of the things I hate in them is if they gave you like a literal tier list of monsters. I think that's really dumb. I think one of the best things about Pokemon is the fact that I can get a Rattata early on and just keep it with me, and the game won't tell me to get rid of that. I think that that's like a really important thing that a lot of these games don't get. That if, like, when you catch something early, you get an early bond to it. Like I said, I bonded with my red Kazu because like he just did everything and he was just a good monster. I love
And
that
then they
thing.
told you, kill him,
Yeah, and then
get rid of him.
get rid of
It
him.
wasn't so much
You
get rid of
don't
him,
need
it was
him.
like you have to have one spot for that stupid egg you had in the beginning, which hatched into a special Rathalos. So that's one spot of your party already gone, and you can have a team of 6.
Well, I was
All right, yeah, finish your story.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, it has these rank things, and I was at a point in the game. When you go and dig around the nest and whatnot, all the eggs are RNG. You don't know.
RNGs is.
Yeah.
that's
So you
what
pretty
kicks
much don't know
everyone.
what type of eggs you're getting. You don't know how good they are, and unless you have a guide in front of you, you don't even know what's in the eggs.
Mm.
I had a guide in front of me because I can't remember which egg types I've grabbed and which ones I haven't. And so in the area I was in, there was a chance to get Diablos. And I was like, oh, cool, I can get Diablos. Around that point in the story, I was just about to get another rank, and I just beat Diablos in the game, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll just go and hatch this egg. Oh, crap, it's Diablos. I can have a Diablos on my team. And the game was like, no.
You get up.
You
What'd
have to rank up in order to use it. But I was like, but I found it. It's
Oh.
mine. It like bonded with me. It's supposed to be my friend. Why can't I have this?
You don't have enough badges.
That's
No,
very
but like,
true. You didn't have enough badges.
That's
No, but-
essentially why, though. If you had just gone a little bit more in the story.
no, literally, Marcus, all I needed to do was talk to one NPC and I would have ranked up. And I was like, no. And even in Pokemon, if I don't have enough badges, I can still use the damn thing. It's not going to listen most of the time. I don't mind. I don't mind that. And plus, like,
Madman.
and plus things that, like, you know, you're under level for usually are things that you probably traded or whatnot or overgrinded. And it, like, that's fine in that. But, like, here I was, like, really upset that I went and grinded to find, like, something rare and find something interesting.
And they're like, no.
And they're like, no, you can't have that. I was so mad about it, I just kind of dropped it right there.
Look, man, I say as I shuffle my bureaucratic papers, just because you didn't follow the proper channels and stories doesn't mean it's our fault.
I'm just saying, it's just that was just something that really ticked me
You
off
gotta go
about that
back in
game.
that
And
line and get a 10W40. You come back in this line with the blue stub you get from that, and I'll give you a green stub to go get an easy 720.
Honestly, that's how my jury duty is right now.
Crap, I
But-
got that coming up.
yeah, but that was the thing that kind of ticked me off because I've played a lot of other games similar to that. Like Yokai Watch, I remember I was in the second world or whatever, like the second
Oh,
like,
yeah, I remember
episode or
that.
whatever, and I got like an S rank monster. I should not have access to an S rank monster. The game's like, well, you got an S rank monster? Go ahead and use them, bro. And I was like, that's like really cool. Like, thank you for being cool like that. And then I know I talked a little bit about this on the Digimon episode, but in Cyber Sleuth, if once you get Mega Digimon, it's like, yeah, you want to have a Mega on your team? Yeah, sure, have a Mega on your team, but it's going to take up a lot of disk space, so you're only going to have one, and everyone else is going to be fucking babies. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But
prioritize.
yeah, that just really turned me off to it, and I was just like, I don't want to play anymore. Plus, like Marcus was saying, eventually you get a Rathalos that just stays on your team, and it's like forced on your team, and I was like, maybe I don't want a Rathalos on my team.
But he's your buddy. He's your friend.
But he's like forced to be my buddy
He
and
survived
friend.
a waterfall, flew all the way to Gildegard, and fucked up the port to be with you.
And I'm just like, yeah, but this
That's a
Kaz-
toxic relationship. You don't want to answer that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that,
sorry.
Ambrose, he'd want it.
yeah, that's like saying he went and bought me a bunch of shit, and now I owe him talking time. Yo, bro, I don't know you. I don't know you that
That's
well.
what creepy people do.
Yeah. Unlike this Kezu, who's been just a complete joy to me.
And you've been writing them all night long.
Yeah. Well, you know, you gotta get
Look, it's
places.
unhealthy to shove your other relationships in other people's faces, Anthony.
I'm just saying, Kezu
Wow.
was a good boy.
That seemed a very healthy relationship. And you didn't want a home wrecker. That's what was going on, right?
Yeah.
You weren't prepared for this home wrecker of
But honestly,
raffle
though,
those.
Yeah.
the game has its own slot for him set off already, so you only have 5 until you get him.
Yeah. I
Yep.
think that's a good way to implement that if they're gonna go and shove that into you. And plus, the Rathalos is helpful because you do get to fly around
You
on
get
him.
to fly, he's a fire type Rathalos, you can have him learn Poison Tail, which is very nice.
Hmm.
But when we did play a little, when I was playing that game, Marcus and I did go and dabble a little bit in the multiplayer because, like,
God, just look on Marcus's face. It's
I wish this was a video so you
Yeah,
could see
it-
the face I'm making.
Marcus is
It's-
very happy because he was very much ahead of me, so he had a lot of really, really strong things, and I'm just like, oh, I have an Empernoth. He can go and hit you with his spike tail, and then Marcus comes in with his Brachydios and just punches him to death.
And I'm like, Brachydios, use Snowstorm. And he's like, but why does a Brachydios use Snowstorm? Because I made him learn it. Then Anthony was like, Earthquake. And I'm like, it was Earthquake?
I was like, yeah, of course I'm gonna pick the monster that learns Earthquake. But Marcus won like probably I would say like 96% of our games.
Mm-hmm.
It was just complete slaughter every time, but we did have a lot of fun.
We had a
with
lot
it.
of fun. The times that I was nice and didn't go triple Brachydioses, because I just usually run triple Brachydioses. You know, I mixed up the team. I was like, oh, I'm going to go with this guy and this guy. It was a very good back and forth between me and Anthony. But then when I brought triple Brachydioses, Anthony went,
Yeah, those weren't fun. But then eventually I learned about Toot Boy and his magical ability to toot.
no, Pecco, no.
So I had a Kuropeko that had like this icy wind attack that would hit both opponents, and had like a chance to trip. So like Marcus was saying earlier with the hunting horn, you have to go and implement. I have to go and do this move, and this move in succession in order for him to get like a certain effect.
Yeah, and if I lose the rock, paper, scissors, or I get interrupted by, like, I get knocked out, I get skill sealed. If I just get interrupted, then I don't get it.
Yeah, and so literally all the Pekko would do was just like trip Marcus up so that way he couldn't go and finish his combos, and then Marcus would get frustrated.
And I'm just like, you know what, ride on. Just kick it into face. Just kick it into face.
Rhydon isn't in this game. That's a Pokemon.
No, it's this move, ride on, not ride on.
Oh.
Rhydon shooting star.
Ride on, you surf.
But yeah, we played a little bit of that. But either way, I think the game was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the little bit I played, and it looks really good on the 3DS.
Yeah.
If you're a Monster Hunter fan and you haven't tried it, maybe go try it out.
It's fun. It's a nice little change if you're just kind of tired of the regular Monster Hunter grind, just killing it till it's dead, and then So it's a very nice. Just let me
Different pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah.
pace.
But yeah, that was the only thing about it is just like I dropped that game hard, but it still was pretty charming, and you do like get attached to these monsters. Like I'm always gonna remember that fucking Kezu. He's just such a good boy.
Your Kezu Red Rocket.
Yeah, my red
Yep.
Red
He's a
Rocket.
good boy. So now let's just move on to just talking about Ultimate Generations
Generations
Yep.
Ultimate.
Yep.
Mhm.
Now, Pete, you just like started it. Just
I
not too-
literally just started. I can tell you what I thought like first day
Yeah, sure.
I started playing it.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm coming fresh from World,
Mhm.
and I hadn't played the first generations on the 3DS.
Mhm. Which was smart.
Mhm.
Oh, really? Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
First generations was just kind of like you're not our hunter. You're just some little whippersnapper. Our hunter could do this G rank
Oh,
quest
really?
with both eyes closed
Yeah.
behind his back.
Not only that, but like
There's just more content in this one,
yeah,
and it's just more
when you
fleshed
don't,
out
and when
and
you
stuff.
just don't have G, it just doesn't feel right.
If you don't have G,
And-
it doesn't
Oh,
feel
if you
right.
don't get
but
the G spot, yeah.
Yeah.
but it did have a lot of
And
content
then
to
like
start
Coffee's
off with.
trying to say, oh, you don't need the G spot. I'm like, yeah, I do.
You do.
It's
I do.
good
We're America.
content.
We need it.
Yep.
We want it. When we didn't get it
Give
with
us the G.
with generations,
Yeah, give us the G.
it didn't work.
yeah.
Like,
Yep.
we
I
all
do like G.
everybody was like generations to the west, and I'm
World
like,
is just
no.
weird though.
Mhm.
Like World doesn't have G technically, but it has like tempered and all
Tempered
that.
and arc tempered.
Yeah,
and
those. It kind of makes up for it, but I wish it did have a lot more
Just
content.
give
But they're
us
working
the
on
G.
it. Yeah, just give us the G.
Just give
That's
us
that's
the
really
G.
what we're trying to tell you, Capcom. Give us the G.
Yeah,
Always.
give us the G.
But I started playing, and I was actually getting really frustrated because I didn't really do my homework on like the arcs or anything
Mhm.
or any of that. And so I'm starting, and I'm like, okay, I know they're different. I kind of watched one video a while back, but I didn't think
you
about
like
it.
watched like a video on the side while
while playing World.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it was
How to
more.
style.
It was more like just intro to like what the arts are and stuff, and I was like, okay, but I just kind of felt like it was just, I don't know, I just felt like it was something there that wouldn't affect me too much. But as soon as I started playing, I realized, oh, changing everything like really changes the way you're gonna be using the weapon,
Mhm.
and that's what really threw me off. I couldn't figure out like the tempo.
Yes.
And then I was trying like different arts, but I wasn't reading anything because I was being an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, now I can't even do this attack. I'm like, what happened to that attack? And it's like, hey, this disappears. Now it'll jump forward with aerial instead of jumping back. And I'm like, bruh, I should read this. I started reading, and I started realizing like, oh, that this is different now. Like, okay, I need to really get used to it. I need to cycle through all of these. Do all my missions, the easy missions, but
need to
cycle
read.
through. Yeah, cycle through all of them and just see which one works for me.
Mhm.
I ended up sticking with Valor right now,
Mm.
with my gun lance.
Yep.
That's
Even
a good
though there's another one that I kind of wanted to go with, but it does this like weird charge. He like winds up his shield before
Mhm.
guarding, and I'm like, I don't have that much time, man. Like, what
I
are
don't
you
got
doing?
time for this.
He
So
like-
you mean adept?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you do that right before the monster hits you. You'll perfect guard it, and then you can counter.
You counter, right? That's
Yeah.
why I wanted it for, but it never worked.
Because you did it too early.
No, like it would say that like I wouldn't do it too early. I was trying it quite a bit, and I was just trash at it. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna try this one right now. I'm gonna move on and go with Valor for now. And then I kind of got used to how Valor, you have to like, it takes a while to like sheath your weapon,
Mhm.
but then within that sheath, that's where you do your moves in to charge.
When sheathing, you charge a special gauge, which will
Yeah.
give you more moveset or damage later on.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you're sheathing while a monster attacks, you can put your weapon away and dodge the attack at the same
Yeah,
time.
it's
That's
pretty.
nice.
It's pretty nice actually. Valor, like I've actually really liked Valor now.
I actually didn't like Valor all that much because it took away too much of my moveset as a charge blade.
For me, I'm like I can live without a lot of the things.
Mm-hmm.
With
Gun lance, you poke, you shoot.
yeah, literally that's really
Yeah.
it. Like, it's, but the dodge is super nice.
Mhm.
Like the auto dodge when you're sheathing, he just like twirls back away from the monster, and that's like really fun. So I've gotten a lot more used to it, and I'm like, okay, now I'm getting in the groove of it. But before I was getting so frustrated. I was like, can't hit a Jaggy, and I was just like, I can't hit anything. They bounce out, and it's like, I'm gonna hit you, and then they dodge, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like losing my shit right now. Like, I'm like, I was supposed to be able to kill this, and then it's just like, or like, it was like, hey, get Kelby horned, and I was like, all right, and I go out and I tried doing that, and I was like, this is impossible, because he was like prancing around me, and I'm like hitting him, and he's just like dodging everything. I'm like, what is this? I just felt like, I was like in an episode of Bleach, and they're like, your spirit pressure is too low, and he's just like, I'm gonna dodge everything, and I was just like, like hitting, but he was just like, the Kelby was just bouncing and prancing, and I'm like, bruh, and then he gets up against the wall, and I'm like, I got him, and then I go, and he bounces to the side, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna.
You're just like, this is just a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah,
now.
I was just like, I am YA Coyote, and yep.
That's my Roadrunner.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it
Your
took me,
your helmet changed so it turned into a giant sucker.
dude. It was that mission. I was like, I need to take a break from this game right now. I was like, I need to watch some videos and research, because I was getting real mad with that game, and I'm like, I can't. I'm like garbage. So
And Pete went on the forum saying these bosses are impossible.
these bosses are impossible. This game is
How
impossible.
does one beat Great Jaggy?
Jackie.
Yeah. No, I ended up what I ended up doing was I just said, okay, I'm not gonna gun lance in this game, and I grabbed another weapon and I started using it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should read, because I actually read, and that's when I started reading, was I read for I think the dual blades. I was just like, I'll just grab whichever. Dual blades was the one that I had there, and I read, and I'm like, oh, I should actually read, and that's when I figured out that I should actually read, and then after that, like, it became a lot easier, and I wasn't so upset. But that first time picking it up was so hard, because I was just so babied with World, because I really like World. World
Dude,
is really fun. It's fleshed out. It's
smooth.
It
smooth.
pampers you, man.
It does.
It really pampers you.
But like ease of move sets, your move sets, how you can do your move sets,
Honestly,
it's just so much better.
Yeah, and since I'm a Switch Axe user,
Yeah.
in like
Switch
the older
Axes.
games, in the older games, there is only 2 combos that you can combo in to go into sword mode. But yeah, with World, you could just easily
it
combo
was
into
so
swords.
easy with
It's
the
like
combos.
jump, sword mode. Oh, back into axe mode before you even finish landing. Roundabout, sword mode,
Yeah.
uppercut, axe
I think the
mode.
perfect game would be like Generations content and World, but a
That
lot
would be
still
nice.
take a lot of the things from World, or I mean from Generations. Like I honestly don't mind. I never minded like having to bring extra crap with you, like
Yeah.
the whetstones and all that. Like I never minded bringing any of that. Or
Yeah,
like,
because like
It's just part of your gear. It's what you
I'm
bring.
like I was so used to it already that
Mhm.
when
the way.
we didn't have to take that, or like the pickaxes or any of that anymore. In World, I was like, oh well, I guess it makes it a lot easier. But I was still used to having to craft it, even with playing the Switch one. I'm like, oh, I never like got that pampered that I was like, oh, I don't know, I guess I didn't bring a pickaxe. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't that bad about it.
yeah,
but
I've heard a lot of stories of people just being like, oh, I forgot I need whetstones. I was like, how do you forget?
How do you forget?
Yeah.
But I did like World's item pouch and how it's separated between like your
Yes.
regular usable
yeah.
items,
Oh yeah.
your bows and coatings, which is pretty standard.
yeah,
and
it
then
separated them. Yeah, that
the
was really nice.
the monster materials was literally just for
Yes,
monster
It
materials.
was just for
Rather-
monster materials,
rather
and
than
it
like
never
the
filled
field
up.
pouch.
It never like messed up your stuff,
Right.
and like took extra space in there. Is real
Yeah.
nice. I really like World for that. But
So like in Generations, you had your regular 3 pages, and then you had your ammo and coating pages, and then you had this thing called the field pouch. Whatever extra didn't fit in your 3 pages of item box or item bag would go there. Anything, doesn't matter. Rocks, maps,
Yeah.
extra foods, monster materials. But in World, the maps just always there. But
Yeah.
like all the extra stuff that wasn't monster materials would go in your regular bag. Monster materials would go in the monster material designated
there's
bag.
a special bag for it. That was real nice.
It was.
One thing I don't like about it is I'm very hit or miss with the
The slinger.
slinger.
I love the slinger.
You know what? Like the slinger, props to it, but then I also hate it
Yeah.
because then
There are some things like
here's the thing with it though. When when you go to like load it,
Mhm.
sometimes you're trying to use the item, but you haven't loaded it.
yeah. So
And
you
then
just
you're
have
like, oh, paintball. It's like, or like, well, there's no paintball, but it's just like, oh,
trank bomb. No.
flash bomb.
Flash bomb.
You're like flash bomb, and it's like, oh, I have a rock. What?
Red
So sometimes if you're not really like checking what you have loaded into your sling,
Mhm.
you're gonna be shooting a rock at someone instead of a flash bomb, and you're like, ha, I'm gonna stun you, and then it comes at you full force, and you're like, oh.
Or the other way around. Like you got your bomb set up. All right, let me just
Oh,
shoot
yeah.
my rock. Flash bomb.
Yeah, so you can really mess that up
Yeah.
because before, like
Yeah, you
in,
just- you
in
just throw it.
Ultimate or for the Switch, I should say.
Yeah. For the Switch, you just
for the
throw
for the
it.
Switch, you just throw it.
You just select item.
Throw it.
Use
Select it,
item.
throw it. That's
Well,
Yeah.
certain things have different like trajectories and stuff.
Yeah, like
yeah.
trank bombs and flash bombs have an arc. Rocks just go straight.
Same
Throwing
with-
daggers.
Yeah, they just go straight. And,
Yeah.
My issue though was that like flash bombs shouldn't be a slinger ammo.
they shouldn't. They,
They
shouldn't
should
have.
just
That
be-
that was my biggest issue. Where
They should just be a regular item. Trank bombs are a regular item. Why aren't
Yeah.
flash bombs? Throwing daggers, I like those as a slinger.
well, it
the-
makes sense, but
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the regular items you find out in the world, like rocks, red pits, chestnuts.
oh yeah,
I like those as slinger
those belong to be slinger
Yeah.
ammo. But
items. But like,
the flash bomb was the most frustrating thing
Yeah.
because I'd sometimes switch it out on accident by frantically trying to load it, or I'd like swap over and then put a rock on it, or put like a pit,
mhm.
and then I'd be like flash, and I was like, no, you dumbass,
Yeah.
you cycled right next to it and you clicked the wrong thing. I'm like, ugh.
One thing I would have liked though would have been like extra slinger ammo that was just specifically yours. Like, oh, this does the same thing as the chestnut, but I can buy this. As opposed to most of the slinger ammo you get is only account items and gone.
Oh, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind.
I would have liked to just walk in with like chestnuts preloaded into my thing. Started the quest just in your
Sorry,
face.
I was just thinking of Christmas music after he said chestnuts twice.
I'm just thinking of just him going up to the shopkeeper and I'll just be like, I'll take a pound of nuts. That's a lot of nuts. That'll be $3.50. You want fries with that?
You know what? Yeah, give me some fries with that.
And then he leaves, and then the shopkeeper just calls the monster. He's like, he just left with nuts.
Walk up to the monster. Hey, monster, I got something for you. My nuts.
Yeah,
really like
but
my nuts.
I'm trying to think like another initial reaction that I had with the Switch version.
But yeah, you're still digging it though, right? And you're
Oh, I'm still digging
yeah,
it.
you're having a good time.
The only thing is, it is different than World for me.
Mhm.
That right now that I've been playing by myself, I was able to play World by myself. I was having so much fun with it. This one, it felt more on the lines of Ultimate. I mean, oh, not Ultimate.
4.
Unite.
Oh yeah.
Unite. It actually sent me back to flashbacks of Unite, just because like there is a lot of content. But right now, since like I don't have all of you guys on my Switch, even though I've sent you friend requests,
It'll
Marcus.
be on there. I
Um,
got the Switch. It's right here.
I can't really play with people, and I do want to play with people. that-
Also, I didn't buy the Nintendo thing to go use the
Yeah,
internet.
Same here. Same here.
Oh shit! I forgot you need that.
Yeah, we need that now. Thanks,
It's-
Nintendo.
yeah, thanks to Nintendo.
Thanks,
It's
Nintendo.
it's 20 versus being 60 for
Mhm.
PSN.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's
that just
nice.
renewed today.
It's
Ah,
not
crap, I'm
so.
I
overrated.
had to go and pay money to hang out with Pete. I mean, technically, this costs money. So
But this is different.
Yeah.
this is different. Renee needs food.
Yeah.
Nobody at Nintendo needs food.
Yeah, no. Hey, don't say that.
Don't say that. Reggie needs food.
Reggie can just teleport into people's houses and just
I don't
steal
know.
his food.
I feel
Reggie
like
wouldn't
there's going to
steal.
be an earthquake.
He's chaotic good.
Mm.
There's going to be an earthquake, and it's going to be because you said they didn't need food.
No, I thought you were still good with Pizza
I'm actually
Hut.
having the opposite problem. Generation Ultimate, I can solo and play all by myself and be perfectly happy.
Oh,
But-
I remember, because
but
Aftab
World-
and in World can't play it by himself. I would totally played it by myself.
Yeah.
And I think you're having the same issue. You can't play it by myself. By
Like
yourself.
I want to play it with friends. I feel it's maybe a little easier with friends, just as should be with Monster Hunter.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like, I hit up everybody. I'm like, hey, y'all want a mon hunt? And they're like, nah.
It's
It-
1 in the morning.
It's
F off.
pretty
I
much,
want to go
yeah.
to bed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like I tried playing, but it's just sometimes I have to work early.
Yeah.
But
Didn't he?
yeah,
Yep.
pretty much.
Didn't he?
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, do I have to censor that out? No. Do you want people to know that?
I don't care.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
But we won't bring it up again.
All right.
Okay, we will not bring up. that word
Anyways,
for Disney.
Anyway.
But yeah.
man, I didn't realize I was just thinking about it the other day. I was like, oh, well, at least I don't have to pay that stupid $20 until Smash comes out. But now if I want to play Monster Hunter with Pete, I have to go and freaking pay money. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Or, we
Well-
could all just chip in, get the family plan.
Oh
True,
my
but
God.
there's also the issue that they don't have a dedicated server. It's whoever's hosting it,
Yeah.
and we all have AT&T,
You don't
or
need to-
most of us have
I have
AT&T.
time
don't
to
need
cable,
to play.
thank you.
Okay,
very
yeah.
much.
If
Fine,
we're all
you
in
set
the
up the
same
rooms.
room, you don't need the
Ad
online
hoc,
service.
ad hoc, you don't
Yeah.
need it. So I mean,
Well, whenever we're gonna get together,
Uh,
I don't play Mario Party.
but
Oh,
yeah.
okay. yeah.
So yeah, just the complete opposite problem for me. It's just like Generations, I'm perfectly all well and fine to play with. World, I want other people to play with.
That sucks because
Yeah.
I was on it like every day for like the first month, 2-3 months it came out. I was just like every day on it, just playing every day, and I was stuck on it. And then Linda's like, "When are you going to bed?" I'm like, "Shut up, woman, I'm not done." And so it'd be like 3 in the morning, and I'm like, "Gotta kill it." And he's like, "Haven't you already killed that monster?"
Where is my PS4? Why do you need to know?
Yeah, and then my PS4, it's a day 1 PS4, so it's not nice.
Oh,
It's,
yeah, that is not nice. Not
It's-
nice
it's
at
like-
all.
like that. Like that's literally what you hear like when you're playing.
Sorry, I've got
And
Pro.
Oh,
Golden Pro.
jerk. So then you just hear that loud fan happening. Even though I've cleaned it out, I've tried fixing it, and it stopped accepting discs.
Ooh.
So I have a disc issue with my PS4. So everything's digital now on my
Yeah.
PS4
Mhm.
for like the past 2-3 years actually. It's
Yeah.
been all digital.
Hear that, Sony? You need a new PlayStation 4.
Yeah. So then it's been bad. Like it will beep at me, and it just be beep, 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 like at night,
Yeah.
like 3 in the morning sometimes. Like if it notices that I did something wrong, or anytime I get home, it like senses me and it's like beep beep, 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 beep,
Shut
beep.
up, woman.
Yeah, and then my girlfriend enters the room and it's like beep, 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 beep. Like it freaks the F out, and she's like, "Why is your PS4 doing that?" I'm like, "Get out of the room, I need to play.
It's haunted, sweetie.
It
just
wants
go.
time with me, not you. Get out."
What
So-
are you
Doesn't
doing,
like
Pete?
you.
I
So
can't let you do that, Pete.
it's funny because I put it in the living room, never makes a fucking sound. I put it in the room, and when we walk in, or like if we're trying to sleep and I didn't play it that day, it starts giving me bullshit. And then I'll play it, I'll
Pete?
turn it on.
Why didn't you play me, Pete?
Yeah, I'll turn it on and everything, and then she's like, "What are you doing? It's late." I'm like, "Well, the PS4 is making sound. Like, I at least need to play with it before going to bed." And I'm just like, "I'm gonna play," and yeah, she gets mad at me, but it's fine. It's like right now, she's like, "Hey, you left." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I took the house keys," and she's like, "Where are your keys?" I'm like, "Well, you're supposed to be studying and doing homework, so I don't expect you to leave the house. So I took the keys." So stay at home, woman. And she's like, "Oh, true." I'm like, "Yeah, so you're not gonna be leaving the apartment today."
So before we go, last time we shared a couple of stories of us playing Monster Hunter. Does anyone want to share a quick story of like something that they love or something that just kind of like magical happened?
Yeah, I was charm farming again. I got
Pete's-
yes, be
Pete-
mad, Pete. Okay.
Yeah, I
And-
always had garbage ones. But
And I got a charm that gave me resistance to fire 15 points, which essentially gave me level 2 fire res.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had an armor set that was pretty resistant to fire. So I put it in there, and for shiggles, I jammed more fire res in there. I had 75 fire res, I think.
Jesus.
I could just be wrong, though. I think it was like 45. But I'm exaggerating. You're going to let me exaggerate. And then
He had 1,000,000.
I had a million. And then me and my friends all went to fight a Rathalos, and it shot a fireball. I put my weapon away, and in my walking animation, I walked in front of the fireball, and I took no damage. But I still took all of the knockback. So, I just kind of roll all the way across the screen. After I was just like, your health took no damage. And I'm like, no, it took no damage. Got back up. It fireballed again because it was enraged, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm going to take that to the face. Wait, why do I care?
Yeah. It sucks when you get like +5 constitution and then like -10 of something, and you're like, I want the constitution, but I don't want the negative. And it's like, what's negative? And then it's like something you need, and you're like, no, I can't do this.
Can't do it.
Can't do this. I can't justify this.
Right.
It's like, maybe if I put 1, and then it's like everything goes to crap once you try to negate it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
it's not worth it.
Odd times the charms will have a skill slot in it, and you could put another skill in
Yeah.
or charm in there
But then you
to
just
negate it. But other times it won't, and you're just like, do I eat the -10? Or do
no, I
find
always
a
get
different one?
negative. It still happened even in Worlds. I still got negative, and I was like, F you guys. I see you still hate me.
I've been playing this game since a PS2, and you still do this shit to
And
me.
it's like, we know. We're going to still F you over every single game.
And you're just like, I wouldn't have it any other way, baby.
Yeah.
Did Aftab tell the Jen Morin story last time?
I don't think so.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
doesn't sound familiar.
I'm gonna tell the Jen Morin story. So me, Aftab, and our other friend are doing the Jen that rides the sand, which is this giant sand dragon, and it's like kind of you hit it a bunch of times in stage 1 where you're swimming alongside of it, and then it goes to stage 2 where it's just the boat's stopped. It's fun.
Takes place in Iraq.
I was gonna avoid that. Okay. And then you're just
Real story.
You're just squaring off against Jen Morin, big ol' arena, and he just slowly walks up to you, right? Fight goes on, and Jen Morin falls
His
over.
name was Jahan Moran.
If you're gonna do that, at least use his appropriate Sanskrit name. And so he falls on his back, and when he does, he opens his mouth, and he's like, ah, and you just get in his mouth. You do more damage in the mouth than anywhere else on his body. So Aftab's using great swords. I'm using switch axes right now, and I just do the full discharge of.
You two are girl characters, right?
No, I'm always a dude.
Oh, is it Aftab the one that's always a girl?
No,
Yeah.
he's sometimes girls.
Oh,
Yeah,
was he a
that's,
girl at that time?
That's his Smurf character.
We were both our main characters because we were doing the quest for our friend.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I was like, how did they infiltrate? Were they women? But keep going.
Well, he did discharge into the mouth.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
did
was
indeed
wondering, yeah.
discharge, and the Aftab was great swording. So he gets off his level 3 charge, right? Which is the strongest charge you do. Just, and then I finished my discharge at the same time. Quest complete, the fanfare plays. You just see Jen Morin flip up. It's all cinematic now because it's like, good job, you did it, right? Finally fades out so we can get our carves. Me and Aftab are all the way back at the boat. Now keep in mind, we pushed the Jen back to the edge of the
yeah.
arena. And in the cutscene that was playing, it was just Team Rockets blasting off. You see these 2 little dots, just me and Aftab, just flying across the entire stadium, landing on the other side of the boat, which is
Oh, I
clear
think
across
I
the
remember
other
this.
side, which
Yeah,
is clear
sounds
across the
familiar.
other side
Yeah.
of the arena. And we're like, are we gonna get our carves? Are we gonna make it in time?
I feel like I was there.
No, you weren't there. It was me, Wendy, and Aftab.
Huh.
We told you about it right
Maybe that's
afterwards
what it
because you
was,
came
yeah.
back from class.
Gotcha. That's probably what it was. I was like,
We were
I feel
like,
like
Pete,
I.
you just missed it.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And like we only got 1 carve because it took us the full 58 seconds to get to the Jen Morin.
Wasn't there one time that you killed Jen Moran and then he like went behind the invisible barrier?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, and you couldn't reach him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
happened to
I
me
was
a
there for
couple
that
times.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nathan was there for that one. So it's just a typical Jen Morin fight. We broke the back, we broke the tusks, we broke the feetsies, and he just all the way on the other side of the invisible barrier that marks
Yeah.
the edge of the arena.
He's not supposed to be out there. I don't know why he went there.
Yeah, he after he crosses it, he's not supposed to get back, but he never finished crossing it because he's got such a stupid long tail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was still a intangible barrier to him, right? So we pushed him all the way back, and then Wendy, I guess, hit it with a ballista with a ballista shot from all the way across the map.
Made it flinch, right?
Made it flinch.
Yeah.
We pushed it all the way back,
That's what
and then
I've
it
done.
just dies.
Yeah.
It just dies.
And at that point, it becomes a zoo.
Yep.
And then you just watch, and you're like, bye.
You
I
just
can't-
wave. Please don't tap the glass.
Yeah, please don't tap the glass. You can't see there.
Like not even his little paw was on the other side of the barrier that we
Can
could
carve
just
shit.
kind of cheese carve. No, he was all the way through.
Yeah. I remember you guys were really mad
Oh,
about
yeah.
that.
That was so
Oh,
mad.
So then it just became like whenever we fought that guy, it was like, we have to wait a little bit.
Let him get closer.
I think like I was one carve away from getting something that I wanted, if I remember right.
But we
Yeah.
couldn't get to
Yeah.
carve because it was on the other side of the wall.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, guys, next time let's just let him hit the boat. Let him hit the boat.
We just need to get him close.
Yep.
All right. So this has been the Creepo Depot. Thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you guys for listening. Oh, I guess Marcus and Pete, why don't you guys tell us what your favorite monster is real quick before we go?
Oh, I said like 6 times.
yeah, that he
I like
did.
the, I like the Brachydios. He slimes, he punches, he's got a sweet ass pompadour.
Yeah, and that was Marcus.
I played this game way too long. I can't say. I'm sorry,
They're all your favorites.
but it's not Rathless. I can say that much.
Aftep cries in the corner.
Yeah, I know. Aftap's gonna cry in the corner, but I don't know. I played like all of them, so it's
It's
like
Roggy. It's Rocky. Great Roggy.
No, nibble snarf.
Let's not talk about that one. All right. And we also had Nathan here today. Thanks,
Yep,
Nathan.
I had you had Nathan.
Nathan
You
doesn't
contracted
remember this.
Nathan.
You contracted him. We had to tear Nathan away from his computer and reblogging Bowsette art.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That was me.
It's a tag team effort.
Don't say it like that. please. All right, so we're gonna move along to Anthony.
Hey guys, yeah, just thanks guys for listening, and join us whenever we do another one of these. Thanks again for listening. All right, Renee, kill it.
Bye, Renee.
Bye.
Bye.